greet you here this evening. The main purpose of this meeting and the origins of this meeting is in the pilot mentorship program that we're very proud to be associated with as the National Mentorship Movement in the tourism industry, where we have 90 people from within the industry working together as mentors and mentees and making a difference in each other's lives. And we're very, very excited about this program. And the reason for this call is that when we did the launch, many of the participants suggested that it would be valuable to get together periodically just to get to understand, know more about one another. And we thought, what could be a better time to do that than doing Tourism Month? What would be better than to have the Honourable Deputy Minister to join us? And what might be better than to have one of the leaders of seeking and creating opportunities in the tourism industry, namely Gidon Novik, to join us today. So before we hand over and ask the Honourable Deputy Minister to say some words to us, I'd like to ask Chiviwe, as the head of TBCSA, through whom the program is being run, just to say some introductory words. Chiviwe?
Thank you, David, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to say it's a happy tourism month, but there is very little to be happy about. Although the recovery, it's there. We are starting to see some green shoots, and hopefully, both the mentors and the mentees are also starting to see some green shoots coming through, be it from domestic tourism or the international markets that are, starting to reopen. But I just want to talk about a little bit about the purpose of this program. We embarked on this journey some few years back. If I'm not mistaken, it was either in 2018 or 2019. And we said that for the sake of sustainability and transformation, there has to be a knowledge transfer from those that are veterans of the industry to those that are, up and coming, trying to make their mark within the sector, and also to grow the small businesses that have been hidden gems for quite some time, to get them to be more exposed to how the industry operates, and hopefully these businesses are able to grow. This also includes the people who have, women who have participated on the executive development program in terms of, trying to make sure that there's a gender balance in executive positions across the value chain of tourism. We're trying to say, how do we make sure that that's realized instead of, continuously doing this program and people are not advancing at work, and we don't get many women executives within the tourism space. And that is, some of the most important things that we ought to do. Transformation is key, sustainability is key, but most of all, to achieve both, we need to have growth within the tourism space. And we have almost 100 people, from the industry. I know we have 48 mentors, 48 mentees, if I'm not mistaken. I want to thank, the mentors for coming on board. These are people coming from all walks of lives who have the knowledge to impart. And I just want to thank everyone, from that part, and their involvement in imparting this knowledge. I also want to thank those that are coming from the entrepreneurial space. It's not easy. Some of you, we do know each other. It's not easy to be in that space at the moment. It's very difficult times, but here we are, trying to do what we can do in anticipation of the growth, in the future growth of tourism in this country. And we do need each one of you, to come on board, to bring the experiences that you have, be it from the product experiences, from meetings and incentives and conferences, to the entire value chain, be it a new Shisanyama or new experiences that you may bring it up, and also using the knowledge that you got from the mentors that are, on this call as well. So I just want to say that this is a pilot program. We started small. Obviously, the success of this program is going to determine how we move forward, and is going to determine how we ramp up if we need to ramp up, and to which direction we need to be ramping up. Because we do want to see, from the private sector point of view, a transformed industry, a diverse industry. We want to see more people getting into tourism, especially young people. We do know the plight of unemployment in this country, but especially young people who have new ideas to come into the sector. So it's very important that we continue. It's very important that we mentor. It's very important that we continue to do this type of things that we're doing to achieve the goals that we've set for ourselves. We do know, from looking at the transformation benchmark that has been done years back, that we still lag behind, as far as transformation is concerned in the tourism industry. And I do hope that this is a catalyst to really get transformation going, to really get sustainability going, to really get those that needs to be elevated to higher positions to be elevated, so that our industry can show the diversity of the country, and it can show the diversity of the products that we have on the ground. And we can create more and more experiences that can be enjoyed by many here in South Africa and abroad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chifiwe. Honourable Deputy Minister, the floor is yours.
No, thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. David Rolson, as well as Mr. Rolson Solomons, who's from the National Mentor Movement of South Africa. Let me also extend my greetings to the CEO of TBSA, Mr. Chifiwe, mentors and mentees across the length and breadth of our country, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the tourism month, indeed. As the CEO, Chifiwe, has indicated, we're supposed to be celebrating, but unfortunately, because of the crisis that the tourism industry finds itself as a result of the health and social and economic pandemic that has ravaged the whole world, we find the industry at the deep end being the most hardest hit, and therefore there's very little to celebrate. But as we have always said, that the tourism as a sector is very resilient, we would believe and hope that it is going to regain its strength and occupy the space in the economy that it usually does occupy. Tonight is a very special night for us as the Minister of Tourism, and we are sure that for everyone involved in the mentorship revolution, it is so because we are launching a pilot national mentorship program, a very important aspect of skills development, transformation, and development. It is important that we emphasize the issue of skills and transformation as the main key driver to recover and grow the tourism sector. Mentorship is an expression of leadership. It is the ultimate form of servant leadership. Allow me, a program director, to quote from Benjamin Disraeli when he said, and I quote, "The greatest good you can do for another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him his own." Close quote. And providing what is mentorship is truly about, providing an enabling environment to unlock the potential. A strategic pillar of South Africa's economy, tourism, has the potential to address the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality through job creation. Apart from generating revenue, tourism provides an economic opportunities for women and youth, supports the development of SMEs, and has the potential to foster social cohesion. As we may know, tourism has a multiple linkages with other sectors of the economy and generate significant multiplier effects. The sector is a people's-oriented sector with people at the heart of its operation as well as its brand. The tourism industry is one of the greatest significance and potential industry to South Africa, and it's one of the 6 key sectors of the economy for growth. While tourism is a key economic pillar, economic development is not possible without people development. The National Tourism Sector Strategy under the pillar People Development calls for the development of programs to ensure transformation of the tourism sector. One of the initiatives recommended is the establishment of a formalized national mentorship program. Subsequent to the National Economic Development and Labour Council, that is NEDLAC, Presidential Job Summit, the department initiated a request for the parties to meet and discuss possible synergies in creating a tourism sector-specific mentor pool. We believe that mentorship can be a major enabler to support, grow, and transform the many micro enterprises in the industry, as well as provide support to their network for students and women. We are pleased that this pilot mentorship program is initiated by the private sector under the leadership and the auspices of the Tourism Business Council, working in conjunction with the National Mentorship Movement of South Africa. This is important because the White Paper on the Development and Promotion of Tourism 1996 and the National Tourism Sector Strategy of 2016-2026 affirms the role of the private sector in that tourism, as we know, is government-led, private sector-driven, and community-based. We therefore acknowledge and appreciate the role of the private sector continuing to play a role in terms of economic development and growth in our country. This milestone program, it's one such aspect of an indication of that role. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a profound adverse impact on the global tourism sector. Governments across the world have implemented necessary measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus so that the capacity of the health system is not overwhelmed by the rate of transmission. These measures directly restricted the movement of people as well as goods and services globally, with a concomitant adverse impact on the tourism sector. Our sector is arguably one of the worst impacted in the world, as I've indicated. And the epidemiological storm now continues to rage. As you know, the variant is changing from now and again, only ebbing and flowing in its intensity. Although the vaccination rollout towards herd immunity is progressing very well, This pandemic has highlighted the need for intervention to keep the sector afloat, and one of the needs was a call for mentorship in preparation for the post and the future pandemics. As you know, pandemics comes from time to time. We had one almost 100 years ago. As the country has since begun to open up, the appetite for domestic travel started to resurface with the help of the Tourism Relief Fund as a relief measures to assist SMEs. However, due to the limited resources, not all businesses could be supported. The tourism SME sector has been particularly adversely impacted by the pandemic, hence a need for a mentorship program of this nature so that we're able to become even more amplified. The tourism sector is one of the critical intervention areas that have been identified in South Africa's economic reconstruction and recovery plan. This is so because tourism is a key driver for economic recovery in the country. The Department of Tourism, together with its stakeholders, have collaborated to develop a robust tourism sector recovery plan. The plan is anchored on 3 interlinked pillars or strategic themes, which is protecting and rejuvenating supply, reigniting demand, and strengthening enabling capacity for a long-term sustainability. We cannot talk about enabling capacity for long-term sustainability without paying decisive attention to mentorship. Mentorship is a relation in which a more experienced or a more knowledgeable person helps to guide a less experienced or a less knowledgeable person. It is a learning and a development partnership between someone with vast experience and someone who wants to learn. Mentorship provides critical benefits to individuals as well as organizations. Combining senior and peer mentoring, the mentor and the peers help one another learn and develop appropriate skills and knowledge. Mentoring consists of a long-term relationship focused on supporting the growth and development of the mentee. The mentor therefore becomes a source of wisdom, teaching, and support. That is what we call enabling capacity for long-term sustainability in the context of skills development. Transformation of this sector is imperative in promoting inclusivity, and a mentorship program is an apt conduit. Our department promotes sustainability and good governance, which includes initiatives to transform the sector, promote the practice of responsible tourism, and the unlocking of tourism economic development. The UNWTO theme for this year, 2021, on the World Tourism Month, which is Tourism for Inclusive Growth, and the localized theme is Tourism for Inclusive Growth, COVID-19 Recovery, Build Back Better. The localized theme seeks to ensure that we drive inclusive growth through transformation with a focus on rural and township businesses that aligns to the selections of SMEs beneficiaries in the pilot mentorship program. By collaborating with business, the department can tap into a wealth of recourse in the tourism sector through this partnership in order to support beneficiaries of transformation program and thus contributes to the overall impact of the intervention. We're happy that the arrangement between the National Mentorship Movement of South Africa, TBSA, and the department is that the National Mentorship Movement will coordinate and implement the mentorship pilot project. The TBCSA will provide the funding and also assist with sourcing mentors among the industry associations affiliated under TBCSA, such as SASTA and SACI, to mention but a few. While the department will assist in sourcing prospective mentees through existing programs, most notably the Enterprise Development and Women in Tourism Program, the Hidden Gems initiatives under the Tourism Incentive Program, and the Executive Development Program. We are also pleased that this pilot program is directed at the growth and development of approximately 40 selected mentees, 20 each in one of the following two streams: the Hidden Gems entrepreneurs that have participated and received development support under the Department of Tourism's Hidden Gems, Women in Tourism, Enterprise Development and Tourism Human Resource Initiatives. These will be in two geographical focus areas, that is Gauteng and the Eastern Cape. Women who have graduated from the Department of Tourism's Executive Development Program, which aims to increase the number of Black women at the executive and management position within the tourism sector. The lessons learned from the pilot will be given due consideration in respect of informing the implementation of the National Mentorship Program in the next financial year of 2021-2022. For this pilot, we acknowledge that the accommodation to operators, travel agent, and MICE industry of the tourism sector have been selected. We look forward to the enrollment of other industry in the tourism value chain. The pilot mentorship program is established to test the effectiveness of mentorship to assist in growing the tourism industry and supporting growing and transformation leadership and enterprises within it. The tourism industry is ready to reset. We believe that this pilot will lend impetus to the recovery of the sector and position it for accelerated growth. We don't always have to build from the scratch. We can also build from experience, the collective experience of our mentors. A British American author, Simon Olive Sinek, once says, and I quote, "When people are financially invested, they want a return. When people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute." Close quote. For those of you that have volunteered to be mentors, we want to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership, contribution, and commitment to the tourism sector. To the mentees, thank you for your willingness to learn and grow. Together, we'll make this sector a great giant leap again. All together, we will make South Africa very great. I cannot think of a better way to give expression of the Tourism Month as I conclude than to launch this event. It is my absolute pleasure to warmly welcome you all to these dynamic initiatives today. I would like to conclude with a quote of Thich Nhat Hanh, who once said, and I quote, "You cannot transit wisdom and insight to another person. The seed is already there. A good teacher touches the seed, allowing it to wake up, to sprout, and to grow." Close quote. Best luck to all of you as you nurture on these green shoots. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Minister. It's a very fitting introduction then to move on to Gideon. We appreciate the commitment of the government and its insight that mentorship can play a vital role. And I think Gideon is uniquely, I think, qualified to follow on from your presentation. First of all, because of his undoubted commitment to mentorship, and Gideon assisted the national mentorship movement when we started because of his own belief in the power of mentorship. But equally, I think Gideon is uniquely qualified to talk to us and to converse with us this evening, because he is a big leader in the industry and a person who has found opportunity where there would appear to be none. And so I've asked Gideon in his conversation with us today just to share some of those themes around mentorship and opportunity in adverse times, for which he is really uniquely qualified to speak. So Gideon, the floor is yours. When you can unmute yourself, there you go.
Thanks, Dave. And thanks for having me. I know we chatted, or you had me share some thoughts with you, and amazing engagement a couple of months ago. So really great to be back with the National Mentorship Movement, and talking about something that, as you know, is I feel so incredibly not only passionate about, but very optimistic, which some people say is a bit crazy in these times, but I'll explain why I have this incredible sense of optimism. But firstly, a confession that I need to make, and that is that I've been taking full advantage of the current state of the tourism industry in this country, in the sense that, you know, the opportunities to explore, the prices that you can get at magnificent places around the country are extraordinary. And we've been lucky enough to just really explore some beautiful spots in the country. Just this last weekend, I was trying to think where else in the world one can experience this. We're sitting in a lodge up in Sabi Sand, and, you know, sitting at the lodge there, and literally 100 meters in front of us, there's a pride of lions that has taken down a kudu. The lion pride has beautiful little cubs and 8 or so lions, and just, you know, watching this spectacle take place, and the vultures are circling above, and the hyenas are in the background, you know, just lurching. And I mean, wow, what a treasure we have here. And I hope some of you, or many of you, have at least had some opportunity in this time to explore this beautiful place and contribute to this very, very needy industry. Why am I optimistic? Well, let me just say, firstly, that I'm incredibly optimistic about tourism globally, but certainly in South Africa. But I'm completely terrified about the timing of it, because it's going to take, nobody knows how long it's going to take. And the recovery, as we know, has been bumpy and volatile. So, you know, timing is not clear, but is tourism going to come back? Absolutely. And I think the lesson that so many of us have learned over COVID is quite a profound lesson. And the lesson is, you know, wow, technology is incredible. It helps us connect. How many people on this call? 30 people. You know, we're all over the place. I don't know where we all are, and we're having this incredible engagement. But we're not really seeing each other. We're not really engaging in a way that many of us would love to engage, and that is on a person-to-person level. And that realization, I think, has been profound around the world, is that we're connected people. We crave other people. We crave community. We crave engagement. And from a tourism point of view, we crave experience. We want to experience life. We want to experience life, real life, and in that experience is inevitably a human interaction of sorts. And and that's why I am so incredibly optimistic, because even pre-COVID, there was this huge move away from people spending their money on things, which, things are just things, and they are transient, and they disappear, and they get old, and they get lost, or they get stolen. Whereas good experiences stay with us forever. And they're such an integral part of our life journey. So the ability to travel and experience and interact with people from around the world is such a incredibly aspirational one for human beings around the world, and that's why pre-COVID there were 1 billion tourists that traveled the world on an annual basis, and we'll get back there, and we're going to get back there hopefully with South Africa playing a very, very central and integral part. I don't have to convince any of you on this call that we have the most beautiful country in the world. It's there. It exists. It's magnificent. The week before we were in the bush, we went up the west coast to see the daisies and the incredible West Coast National Park, and just an hour's drive from Cape Town, and you're in for a couple of months of the year in these massive fields of beautiful daisies and color and beauty. And so there is so much to experience in this country from a physical point of view, but really what makes us special is this unique South African charm and this unique South African warmth that we know exists. And we're so multicultural and we're so diverse, and yet every one of our cultures seems to have this warmth, this incredible warmth, and they're so different, the cultures, and yet they work so beautifully together. I mean, in the airline example with Lyft, we'll have maybe a Afrikaans ex-South African Airways cabin attendant engaging with a young up-and-coming Zulu talented cabin crew member, and there they are, these two people from such different backgrounds engaging in a service environment in such a beautifully warm and unique way. So South Africa's got it. I mean, South Africa's got everything we need, and we talk about getting back to where we were, and I would pose the question, why can't we be the best tourism destination in the world? I would rather pose the question why we can't be than why we can be, because I think it may be difficult to answer why we can't be, because I think we can, and we have everything that it takes to be the best in the world in this very devastated industry, but one that is going to make a comeback. I love the term revenge travel, which is now being spoken about, that people are sitting at home and just sitting on their computers and going online and looking at these beautiful places, and they just waiting for that moment to push the button and make their booking and get their revenge on this beautiful thing that's been taken away from us for a year and a half. So travel's coming back. We need to put ourselves in the center of it. We need to realize in business, it's more often than not competitive. Tourism, I can't think of anything that's more competitive than tourism, because every country in the world will think that they have something to offer tourists and will be trying to attract those dollars or euros or renminbi from around the world. And we're going to be competing, and we need to be mindful of that if we don't get our act together, somebody else most certainly will, and we will lose out. So we need to have our act together, and from a service point of view, we all know how easily it can go wrong, and how one bad service interaction, maybe you're checking in at the airport and the check-in agent is not engaging very nicely with you and is giving you a hard time getting your baggage checked in, or whatever the case may be. Those small things can have a very big impact on an experience, and I think we need to just think of every in the context of building our tourism businesses, think of every touch point possible where we can make it a special one and a meaningful one, and not a negative one. And as I say, we've got the talent certainly to do that. We also need to be bold from a timing point of view. Who wants to be investing when things are all grim and bearish? Just an interesting stat, and this is not to brag. I think it's more to tell you how crazy we may be. Lyft was the only airline that was launched in the entire world in 2020. 2020 was the worst year on record for the airline industry. And we saw an opportunity, not necessarily in the sense that people were going to start flying in a big way straight away, but there were so many aircraft available, there were so many great people available that we thought this really was the time to get going. It turns out in 2021 already, we're only just over halfway, there's over 50 airlines that have started up in the world. So it's interesting how things get momentum, and how now that there is a recovery that people are starting to see, airlines are starting up all over the world. So I'll end off by leaving hopefully with a sense of great optimism, because there's reason to be optimistic, but I think there's also reason to be a little bit humble around the fact that we are in an incredibly competitive industry, and we need to bring out the best of what our people have to offer. Mentorship is a incredible way of doing that, and unleash the best of what this country has to offer in the tourism sector, and set ourselves the target of being the best in the world. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks for those opening remarks. As you know, the style at National Mentorship Movement is a conversation amongst a community rather than a presentation. So here's an opportunity to engage with somebody who calls himself a possibilist. In other words, somebody whose possibility as opposed to looking at probabilities, and probabilities being things you weigh it up and then you probably don't do it. So maybe just as an introduction to continue the conversation, get on, how does the mind of a probabilist work compared to a possibilist? And where we are as an industry, what are the possibilities that you can see which would help the people on this call to generate some hope for themselves going forward?
Yeah, I think the kind of possibilist in me, which is seeing the opportunity and the possibility in things, versus the probabilist, which is really a mindset of constantly trying to work out the probabilities of things happening and the probabilities of things going wrong, which is an important component, but I think it can really mask the vision for where things could be. The possibilist is that we really have this potential, this asset, this in tourism more than potentially any other industry in this country. I mean, mining, we've got the natural resources, and they also have big ebbs and flows in terms of the cycles that they go through. But we have this real treasure, and we have this ability to not only give people employment, because employment is critically important, but just to give people meaning and purpose. And we know that serving other people and contributing is, I think one of the quotes earlier on said it, it's something that gives people real meaning in their lives, and that's what travel and tourism and the service industry allows for. So I see the possibility of creating tourism businesses, creating experiences for people, and these people could be right here in South Africa. They don't necessarily have to be foreigners coming in, although we really do want them to come back with their foreign currency. It could be people in our neighborhood, it could be people in our cities, people in our provinces, and people in our country that are craving these experiences and have the means to spend on them. So, putting a limitation and, I think macro, it's very hard to ignore the macro, Dave, in terms of, the real stats that, the industry's suffered. Of course it has. But I think the macro can also be, an artificial barrier to moving ahead and creating opportunities and businesses and customer propositions that, that are meaningful. So I would just say, be mindful of the macros. Don't have blinkers on in terms of what's happening, and hopefully there won't be another wave and another lockdown and all of that. But just do what you can do, and what you can do is create experiences that people are looking for.
Thanks, Gideon. Right, so who would have some questions they'd like to ask Gideon, or for that matter, the Deputy Minister, in terms of the way forward and the opportunities in the industry? I'll come back to Gideon a bit later, just talk a bit more about mentorship and your commitment to that. But let's spend a bit of time talking about the industry as such.
Is that for me, Dave?
I think, no, for the community. Let's have more of a conversation.
Right.
Dave, Michael Maputo wants to say something. He has his hand up.
Okay, Michael.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank TBSA and the Department of Tourism for offering us this opportunity and the platform to actually remind ourselves that, tourism and business still exist. I think for some of us, modern mentorship into leadership, this program has, assisted us, personally in terms of our way of thinking, because during this time, most of us will agree that we have suffered dearly in terms of loss of income, and our business is not really doing well or being non-existent at all. And I believe this program came at a time whereby it was really needed. And we always, well, for me, I always look forward to every session because it really instills hope. And this is the second time around I'm listening to Gideon, and then I'm even more encouraged to continue. In terms of the industry, it's really challenging. It's really difficult. I mean, from my side, not only am I still looking for employment, but also volunteering my services to small travel management companies that are really trying to operate under the circumstances. So we find ourselves in a situation whereby a program like this is really critical, and it's really up to us to really start thinking outside the box, And I think Gideon's innovative or possibilist approach has really, struck me differently, because once you are in a crisis, you look at how you manage or deal with the crisis. But he's seen a possibility out of a very daunting crisis. So I think if most of us can adopt the same mentality to say that, yes, we are in a crisis, but how do we then think something that is more positive, or something that can come with a very positive outcome in a very difficult situation, which can be very difficult at the same time because everyone is really going through challenges, And then, from my side, that's my input, and I'll say we just have to keep on pushing, and we're hoping as well that the department will be more involved, especially in programs like this, and in terms of our progress in the industry. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
I did quite a lot of work at the Department of Tourism for quite a long time because it's a real interest of mine. So obviously I've read the tourism strategy, and I've also read the state of tourism and transformation in the industry. And it strikes me that what we have to look at is what the perceived challenges are, or what the real challenges are to the smaller people. So in that report, they talk about the perception in terms of the value chain of the larger companies, generally white-owned, to finding people down the value chain who can supply to them. So in other words, they don't seem to be visible on the one hand. And on the second hand is the fact that they're perceived to be more unreliable, and you can't depend on them for consistency. So I think that what we could possibly look at in terms of actually mentoring with a tourism slant, rather than focusing on the actual mentoring, is having a look at how we help the people that we are mentoring to understand how to make themselves more visible, and maybe a little bit of process training in terms of understanding the planning. How do I get my service to market? How do I make sure that I'm consistent and that I get a good reputation for doing that, so that I can contribute positively and directly to the industry?
Thanks, Kate. Any follow-up comments or questions on that?
Dave, there's a hand, I think, from Tonderai.
Tonderai?
Okay, thank you very much with this opportunity. Pertaining to my observation, what I can ascribe is also something that can help us, is that from where I'm talking from is more pertaining to, I'm not seeing more of a community involvement. I can be specific. I'm currently based in Port Alfred. I can see that Port Alfred is a good resort center. We usually receive a lot of tourists. But what I've observed is that the community at large, they seems not to benefit in terms of whenever people visit Port Alfred. I don't see inclusion of the community within the issue of the value chain. So my understanding is that as we mentor our mentees, another thing that is also important is for the government to see to what extent is the community benefiting, because when people visit a community, it means if the community is not benefiting, they take time to support the initiative. So it's also something that I've observed, that we can also extend this program to communities so that the community can also be part and parcel of this program. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tonderai. Lorraine? And you're on mute. Hi, Lorraine, are you? So I think you're still on mute. No, can you unmute, Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm trying. Unmuting. Okay.
You did it.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. It's Lorraine here. I was at the Transformation Summit yesterday, and I think one of the main situations that people seem to think, transformation, complete change, and actually what came out of the whole day was that it's not a matter of changing the existing products, it's a matter of growing new products. And like our friend just said there now, the communities, the township, the village communities, and I think this is where the growth is, and this is where the area should be for us as as tourism people to now go and look for these hidden gems and to bring them forth and to make sure that they know how to market themselves. And like Kate says, that they're reliable and that they're available and that they've got access to the market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you also on the possibilist route, as was Tandarai, looking for opportunities in unusual places or places people typically overlook or ignore. Okay, any other comments for Gideon? Marilyn?
Can I get back to, I beg your pardon, Marilyn, go.
Oh, it's Marilyn here. Hi guys, I joined a little bit late, but with regards to how everyone can also be able to benefit, it's something that I've realized in the past few months is as much as we as new, small and medium operators, we also need to be able to be proactive. For myself and my small company, I've managed to partner with the local what do we I'm not sure how to put them across. It's with West Coast Tourism, and I've managed to benefit a lot from them with the exposure of the area and how I can be able to expose my own clients and myself to West Coast travel. And it's so in doing so, I've also managed to upload some of my packages on the short left platform, especially for this week's travel. I don't want to lie to you, I've never seen so much traffic for my website and for my business as I have seen in the past few days. I think the other initiative that us as small operators is to look out and see what else is there and who else is also there to assist us, apart from waiting to be told where to go, when to go, how to get there. There's always something out there for us, and I think it's something that we can all benefit from. Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn. Kate, you had a follow-up comment?
Yes, particularly Marilyn echoed exactly what I wanted to say. That if you look at the trends in tourism these days, you'll see it, they almost call it cluster tourism. So for example, New Zealand, okay, not these days now with the pandemic, but New Zealand and Australia getting together and having a look at, let's get people into that area and let's get them to stay the extra couple of days, because what else is in that area? How do we give them a holistic experience? So, and I mean, I know they're doing it in the Nordic countries as well, that you can do Nordic tours. So in terms of that community and in terms of understanding, for example, West Coast tourism, they're obviously looking holistically at the area and not just at me with my B&B, because people don't go to a B&B for the B&B. They go to the B&B for the local waterfall, for the sea life, for the, you know what I mean? Some kind of coordination, which is exactly what Marilyn was talking about. I'm glad she went first.
Maylene, I know we've had this conversation before, as well as with Tumi, about expanding from the big five. Everybody goes to Cape Point, Table Mountain, Kruger Park, maybe Umhlanga, and extending to the unbelievable, the hidden gems, genuinely hidden gems that we know nothing about, which are so special throughout the country. And how do we open those up without destroying them in the process?
Good evening, DM. Thank you, Dave, Tufiwa and Gideon, and to everybody on the call. I'm Maylene from the department. Absolutely, Dave. You know, that's why we had the Hidden Gems program, which a lot of the people on this program come from, so that we could do exactly that, show people part of our domestic tourism strategies, what we call geographic spread, taking people to the less visited areas of our province. We'll also be introducing a domestic tourism scheme to get people traveling off-peak, and so we can really fill up various establishments off-peak. So definitely from the department side, we've also got the tour operator incubation program, where we will be developing emerging tour operators to do exactly that, and even leverage our budget resort concept, so that we can get more affordable offerings and packages for South Africans, and therefore reignite tourism through a focus on domestic tourism. So absolutely, we've heard what is needed, and you know, I think the pandemic gave us also an opportunity to introspect a little as the department through the various webinars that we held, and you know, listened to our tourism, to the private sector, SMEs, particularly focusing on rural and township experiences, and how we can build social cohesion, grow the market. I think Lorraine said, you know, when we talk transformation, we don't want to cannibalize what is there. We actually want to grow experiences, so that, you know, people are not just coming to Cape Town or to, you know, Vilakazi Street. We have a plethora of offerings, and we seek to do that through the various interventions from a domestic tourism point of view. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Melanie. I'm conscious that we're coming to the end of our hour, and Gideon, I did want to get back to you about your commitment to mentorship and how you believe a program like this can support the industry in its journey to transformation, sustainability, and growth.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dave, I don't even think it's an option. I think it's just such an essential part of building an industry. We know the talent is there. We know that the experience sits on the other side, and we also know, and I'm certainly learning as I get older, that, you know, there is an accumulation of experience and a growing desire to share it. And so it's this perfect union of talent, you know, wanting to be unleashed, and experience that wants to be shared in an industry that everyone on this call has kind of agreed and echoed that it has unlimited potential, and it really is incumbent on us to continue this journey and find these young people with great dreams and aspirations to do something meaningful in their lives and in this industry, and really give them the tools and the means to do so. So congratulations to you and the team and the department and the TBCSA. I think it's absolutely spot on. Now we've got to go and make it happen.
Thank you very much. We're just about on the hour. So we have a custom at National Mentorship Movement that we have a hard stop. So the stop is at 6 o'clock. But people who'd like to just stick around for a conversation for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So anybody who has a pressing need to go, very, very happy, very welcome to drop off. But anybody who maybe didn't want to raise a question in the open, get on if you're willing to stick around for another 5 minutes or so, and just see if anybody else has anything they'd like to raise. But otherwise, from my side to the Deputy Minister, thank you very much for gracing this event with your presence and welcoming us and confirming the importance of mentorship to you and your department. Thank you also to Chifiwe. So effectively, I'm bidding farewell to everybody and declaring the meeting closed, and then suggesting those who'd like to stick around for a couple of minutes, let's just continue the conversation for 5 minutes or so. I see there's another hand up that I can't recognize. So I'm not seeing. So Bernie, you had your phone up, so we're now officially ended. So Bernie, over to you.
Thanks, Dave. It's not really our platform as departmental officials. I'm also from the department, and it's more for the mentees and mentors. But I think I just wanted to say, given what Gideon said about being a possibilist, and I think this couldn't have come at a better time, strangely enough, because in a difficult time to have an opportunity to be part of a mentorship program is exactly the right time in which you need to set yourself up and see opportunity for what's coming. And I think once things open, it will probably open with a bang. And this is probably the best time to be in such a program. So the guys in the pilot initiative, I think, have an advantage, because when the subsequent rollout happens on a larger scale, those guys would be a little bit behind the curve already, I guess. So I just think this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone involved. Thanks.
Thanks, Bernie, and thanks for your support as well in the past.
David, I just wanted to make a comment as a mentee. This has been a really incredible experience. It's brought out the Ubuntu spirit when I was liaising with my mentee. As a mentor, I found that the whole humane aspect of what COVID has been of has translated into being able to transfer your knowledge, your skill, and to have somebody who is appreciating it so much. So it's such a wonderful relationship that is getting established out of this mentor-mentee relationship. So I think it's so good that we are able to give back to the community, to give back to the industry, and to empower the local people around us. And it's also important to be able to explore our own hidden gems within our own location, something that's been under your nose maybe for donkeys of years, that you've just never taken a notice of, but you've had an interest in it. And that is what I'm finding with the relationship between my mentee, is that we are starting to discover what is unique, what is different, and how can we mold it. And of course, even I'm becoming very interested as a mentor, as a business partner, to be able to say, okay, I can bring that product into my package. It gives me a little bit of a USP. So overall, it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Thank you, Benny. I really appreciate that endorsement. Rob Heaton, you've been an integral part of this journey so far. Maybe just some observations from your side. You're still on the call.
Hi. Hello, Dave. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the call. I'm a bit of a noise zone at the moment. Yeah, look, everything that's been said today, you know how passionate I am about mentorship and the power that it has to transform people's lives and give people the opportunity to become independent and empowered. So I'm just very, very excited that we've managed to get the scale of the program going as we have, and kudos to you and the team for being as dogged in tracking all the delinquents down. And getting them on board. And good luck to everyone with the relationships that they build. What I know from experience is that these relationships don't stop after you've had an interaction like this, but they carry on for life. So congrats to everyone, and I wish you everything of the best. Thank you very much to everybody who made this happen. Thanks to Chief and TBCSA. Thanks to the NDT, and thanks to all my folk in SATSA for putting their hands up and being counted. We've got 1,052 odd years of experience as we counted, and that's how we're going to grow our economy. And tourism is our future. So, yeah, thanks to everyone, and thanks, Dave, and your
Thanks,
team.
Rob. I think it's now 5 minutes past. I don't know, Honourable Deputy Minister, maybe some closing observations from your side, and then I can ask Gideon to maybe give some observations of his own. Anything you'd like to add?
No, thanks very much. Well, I'm excited to see how everybody understand and feel that this is going to take us forward. I'm also excited by Gideon. You know, when last year saw them saying they're launching an airline in the midst of huge restriction, I wondered how it is going to be practical. That's the sign that you need individuals of this courage and caliber to be able to make sure that we lift the industry and make sure that the industry functions and lift the economy of South Africa. It's very encouraging, and it's a very exciting program. Hoping that we are going to make sure that it becomes a success, all of us, so that at the end of the day, we make the tourism industry to be at the center of the growth and the economic development of South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then a last word, Gideon, a man with enormous audacity, equaled only by his humility. How you combine those, I'm not sure, but maybe some last observations from your side in closing.
Thanks, Dave, and thanks, Deputy Minister, for that kind compliment. What I would leave everyone with, particularly given that we in such vehement agreement with the potential and what needs to be done, is just to ourselves take a step in the right direction. It may be the right step, it may be the wrong step, but it's a step forward, and just to really encourage our mentees as well, just to take action and to move and take us, make decisions, move forward. We don't know all the answers. We don't know what's going to work. What are people like? Or what are people going to like? What are they not going to like? But the only way we're going to find out is if we move ahead and we test things, not by betting everything on one call or one decision, being prudent in that regard, but just really moving forward. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, is just encouraging people to think about things, assess the environment, get a sense of what's going on, and take action and move ahead. The thing that we all know is that we always overestimate what we can achieve in the short term, but underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. And the only way we can achieve all those incredible things and become the best tourism destination in the world in the long term is to start doing small things right now. Thanks, Dave.
Sure. Overestimate what we can do in the short term and underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. What a fitting way to end this conversation. Gideon, thank you so much for joining us, the Deputy Minister as well. Wish you all a wonderful weekend and an incredible tourism month. And let's hope next year when we talk again in Tourism Month, it'll be in very different circumstances. Thank you very much. And good night.
Thank you. Good night, Dave.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, Val.